My wristwatch is broken, my shoes are untied. Time is a-ticking, and so is the tide. But I am not worried, things are what they are. Come rain or come shine or a shooting star.
You see these two big bullnose piers? And then they had those guys running around with cork boots, guide the logs through these bullnose piers and shoot them down this old concrete chute. Shoot them down off the end. They'd run them down the Clark Fork River all the way to the sawmills at Sandpoint. Take them out into the river, all the way by river. And so this was how they got them through the dam. You kind of see the two big round noses. Mm-hmm. We've actually incorporated it into part of the fish ladder. And the chute actually ran down this way. When you kind of look down in that way, you'll see the old chute walls that ran the logs down back in the day. And they actually went all the way out there and just shot the logs out in the river.
This is Noel Jacobson, plant foreman at the Thompson Falls Dam. When we pulled into town, he was the first smiling face we came across. Noel gave us a pretty incredible tour of the dam and pointed us in the right direction for a few places to check out around town, from trails to local swimming holes. Although we'll have to come back in the summer to really check some of those out.
Around there's a trail that'll take you right down here and goes around that little ravine. And there's a trail that comes up right about where you see that white cross over there.
So we took Noel's advice and headed into Thompson Falls proper to check out some places to eat, drink, and meet a few of the folks who call this place home. Our first stop was to check out a major restoration project happening right downtown.
I'm Daniel Moore. We're sitting inside the Black Bear Inn, formerly the Ward Hotel, in Thompson Falls, Montana. The Black Bear Inn is actually considered by the National Historic Register to be the most significant historic property in Thompson Falls. It was built between 1907 and 1908 and opened as the Ward Hotel in 1908. At that time, it was a 30-room hotel with a restaurant, a cafe, and a bar. Over the years, it's changed hands many times and it's fallen into a state of disrepair. The building has been largely not in use for over 20 years. At that time, what happened was somebody shut the building down, failed to turn off the water, the basement flooded. This is a post and beam construction building, so it's basically laid out on 10-foot grids of large, rough-cut lumber with large beams sitting on little concrete piers. When the basement flooded, the ground got soft, those piers sank. And so the entire building right now the floor is undulating, and you'll feel it as we walk through the building. It's not level. This was the parlor or grand ballroom. The ceiling tiles and the chandeliers have been here since electricity was here. There's track lighting around the edges that was added later. But it's our intention to turn this back into a grand ballroom. We are not looking for some commercial use here. We're looking for creating a space where if somebody wanted to have a banquet or a wedding reception or a special event, there would be some place in Thompson Falls that's suitable for that sort of activity. And so we intend to fully restore it, make it beautiful, and then just make it available to the town.
Daniel described the ongoing plans for each level of the building and was very knowledgeable about the history of the Black Bear, from the historical to the supernatural. I don't know if we got any spirits on camera, but who knows.
I've got a worker who was on the roof a couple of months ago and said that a ghost grabbed him by the elbow and told him to be careful when he was near the edge.
What?
I swear to God. Layout of the building is exactly the same as it was originally built. It's 22 rooms up here. They've since put in drop ceilings and fire protection, and they've done some things that have really wrecked the historical feel of the building. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is taking it back to that original state. Now, there are places where we have to compromise.
Right.
And I can give you an example. This is the original stairwell and banister, which obviously doesn't meet code, but it's the original thing. So we can make it meet code by pulling it out, building a stem wall up a foot and a half, and then putting it right back down on top of the stem wall. So what you end up with is the historical banister that was here originally, and we meet code. So we're having to do some things like that. I have heard so many stories. One of the things we're definitely going to do is reserve some space just for the recorded history of the black bear. There's an old jail museum, the Historic Society here in town, and they've said, we've got the original guest registers from the Ward Hotel, and when you're ready, we're going to give them to you. This was originally built as kind of a hostel style. In other words, this is how hotels worked back in the early 1900s. You got a room with a sink, and you shared your bathroom, your toilet and your showers were in a shared facility somewhere at the end of the hall. So as you look in here, for example, this is highly representative of the rooms, of the 22 rooms that you'll find up here. Simple little room, running water, sink, and if you wanted to take a shower or use the toilet, use the facilities at the end of the hall. One of the things this town really needs is a well-stocked, well-managed dollar store. I'm actually going to excavate this out to an ADA ramp. We'll end up turning this probably into retail space down here. So this will be a one-station hair salon. This is actually going to be a coffee house that you don't normally get in a small town. Basically, we're trying to do a blended experience. So people who are coming in to have their hair done will have the coffee house to spend time in. People who are coming in for coffee will see that there's a salon available. We really, really want to create a place where people feel they can come and connect with their community.
If you've ever heard about Thompson Falls, you've likely heard of Minnie's. It's a local institution. As you pull into town, you can't miss it. It's right on the main drag and next door neighbors to the Black Bear Inn. Minnie's was established by Miles and Missy Sexton in 2004. It was called Boomtown before they bought the joint. And while it also serves as a small casino, bar, and fly shop, it's the diner that really calls to you when you drive through town. Because it's there that the Sextons are cooking up exactly the kind of homemade pies, Flintstone-sized chicken fried steak with endless coffee refills that you imagine when you think of a classic diner.
Hi, I'm Miles Sexton and we're in Minnie's Montana Cafe in Thompson Falls, Montana. We were living in California. We had a restaurant in a small town 65 miles east of San Francisco. She wanted to go to Hawaii on vacation, so I said, let's go to Montana and buy some retirement property. I flew into Missoula and rented a car March 1st and drove around for 5 days and almost bought 40 acres in Libby. And on our way back down towards Missoula, we came down 56, the Bull River Road, and ended up in a real estate office there at Bull River Junction, and the lady showed us the place we're living now. We had no intention of coming up here and opening a restaurant. It just kind of, it happened that way. So I was just dreaming, come in, remodel. And he told me that this was Boomtown when we bought it, that he had listed it just the day before I called. He didn't have any pictures on the website. I grew up in the restaurant business with my family. And my dad lives in Moscow, Idaho. And I called him and I said, why don't you go to Thompson Falls and see what this place Boomtown's all about? So he drove up and had dinner, and we paid for the motel, and then he came back and had breakfast. And when he got home, he called me and said, you'll make more money in Montana than you will in California. It's beautiful. You can fly fish. There's deer and elk and moose and turkeys, and it's a better way of life. The air's clean. The people say hello. You're not getting a finger all the time.
I'm Missy Sexton, and everybody calls me Missy, but my mom nicknamed me Minnie. And when I left California and came up here and bought this, I named it Minnie's because of my mom. I enjoy the restaurant business. I'm in the kitchen every day. It's my responsibility, is the cooking and the specials and the soups and all that. Where I lived before, it was crazy, the traffic. It's, you know, it's terrible. I've gone down the last Christmas, and no thanks. You know, 7 lanes of traffic going each way, and
You're not sold by that?
you know, yeah. My brother wants to get the hell out of there and move here. Yeah, no, this is awesome. You know, I roll out of my driveway and my hayfield's covered in elk. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
So this is a little dam. This is called the Dry Channel Dam. It's a little 300-foot dam right here. And then on the other side is the main dam, which was Thompson Falls, and there's a 1,000-foot dam over there. If you look just to your right of that, you see just the top of another one of those.
Yep.
And that the one just to the right is the same size as the other one, and that's your low water, which is now. And so the fish are getting attracted. That upper one spilling out is just kind of some makeup water that's keeping some pool levels right. It's a little overflow. So to give you an idea on this high water, you kind of look across and you'll see that white kind of stain. That's how high the water was this year. So if you kind of get an idea of that stain, it's all the way, it was 2 feet up over this wall. And then just imagine this whole thing was full. And that's our high water. This whole thing is just ripping in here. None of this can stay in there during that. This would have been, you know, all wiped out. But, these antennas you're seeing out here, these things, they'll put radio tags in the fish. You'll see another one on the spill gate over there, kind of sticking out of that center pedestal on them older gates.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so what they'll do is they can put a radio transmitting tags in the fish. They'll do that downstream. We work with the other dams, which is a Vista at Noxon, and they'll put a radio tag in a fish and let him in there. And when he shows up here, this antenna will say, okay, he's down here.
Wow, all right, so what's going on here?
So what this is a fish ladder. It's got step-up pools, about 1.5 foot step-ups, and there's 40-some pools, and each one steps the fish up. And they just jump up and up and up and up and up. They can come all the way up here and then cross and get by the dam.
It's a literal fish ladder.
Yeah, and here's what it looks like right here. So each one of these pools represents about 1 foot to 1.5 foot of elevation drop. So each one of these, there's 48 of them. They get all the way up here and then they're out into the river. And we got this awesome flag up here, buddy. And then this turns into a giant Christmas tree.
Oh, really?
I put about 350 foot of green LED rope lights, neon rope lights, big honking gold star. And then it reflects on the water. It's pretty spectacular.
Who do you get to go up there and put the star up?
Actually, that's hinged. And I take one of these cranes, I got a little contraption, I reach up there and grab a hold of it, and then we just trip it and it hinges down, then we hang all the stuff on there and stand it back up.
All right. I
So-
would want to be up there.
Bless you. Have no fear, Carrie's here.
Open sesame.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Thank you so much.
Uh-huh. I'm just gonna leave this unlocked, guys. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carla Parks, and we're in Thompson Falls, Montana, and we're at the beautiful Rimrock Lodge overlooking the Clark Fork River. I was mayor for 6 years.
Mayor for 6 years.
Mhm.
Now, what? Can you talk about that experience a little bit? What?
Well, sure, it was really enjoyable. We have wonderful people in Thompson Falls. Even the people that disagreed were polite and were warm. You know, the people here are our biggest asset.
And so when you showed up,
eventually were like, I'm going to be mayor of this town?
No.
No?
No. I was way too busy to be mayor back then. But after we sold the business, and I was working part-time in the business still, I realized that I had some time to take and to serve this community and to show some of the appreciation I had for being able to raise our boys here and have such a good life here. It is so beautiful here, but it's not just the beauty, it's the things that this kind of environment gives to us. The hunting, the fishing, the wonderful lakes that you can hike up to, have the whole lake to yourself. And then along with that, you have the people. I know when we first came to Thompson Falls, our little one, our kids were young then, and the first thing that happened is we went into a restaurant and he turned his hamburger upside down. Well, that happens. But immediately they made him another hamburger and didn't charge us. That would not have happened. We were coming in from Spokane. Wouldn't have happened in Spokane. So it was the people, probably even more so than the incredible surroundings that's here. Whether you're a serious hiker or biker or canoer or kayaker, you can experience these views, and you can experience the woods and the wilderness and the rivers here.
Carla does a great job highlighting the unique things about Thompson Falls. And make no mistake, Thompson Falls is its own place. But it's also just like every other small town out there. It's just waiting for you to get in your car and show up with a smile on your face, ready to eat, drink, and be curious.
Look at all that. That's like kid play in Central.